And just for those who are new to the channel, my name is Ashley Bloxham. I'm a therapist. I specialise in childhood and addiction, but also I'm an addictions counsellor, and I've overcame addiction and I've studied it right up to PhD level. And I know it's like to have a loved one who's struggling with addiction, so I really do understand it. So just doing a live Q&A. So tonight's topic is just show up. Hello Chris, how are you doing? So really drained. I don't know what is going on with this, but I'm really tired, can't be bothered, really wanted to cancel, and I thought, no, just show up. There might be people who need to speak to you. And it made us think about addiction recovery in the way that sometimes we don't need to have a master plan, sometimes we don't need to do anything, we don't need to be happy, we can be irritable, we can feel like we're failing, but we just need to show up. And I think a lot on this channel I talk about like different things that we can do, like learning to love yourself and one day at a time with a strategy and stuff like that, but actually it is as simple as just saying to yourself, just show up. So a way that we can do this is we can take a deep breath that regulates the nervous system and just go, right, I'm just showing up, and just say it to yourself and just be a bit of your cheerleader. You're doing great, you've shown up today, that is worth celebrating, and just big yourself the hell up for turning up. So yeah, hi Tico, how you doing? How are you, Chris, as well? I don't know how long I'm going to be staying on tonight, but I just thought I'd show up. Hence the name. How are you doing then? What's been going on? Chris saying thanks for pushing through and still turning up. You're welcome. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong. I can't be arsed. Cannot be bothered. But I just thought even if I show up for 5 minutes, it's still just showing up for 5 minutes. What have you been up to then? Anything worth reporting? So today I've I don't know what it is. I've been tired, but I've just been exhausted. I've had 2 naps. That is so weird. so weird. And yeah, I don't know why. I don't feel ill. I don't feel anything. Just CBA. Tico, I'm doing good. Thanks for being consistent and turning up. You're welcome. I think it's actually only used 2, so it's worked out quite well. Just show up and say hi for 2 seconds. Not much. Work. And I do have a question. Yes, please do ask a question, Chris. I'll wait for you to type it out. I probably should fill the gap in case anybody else will be like, what's this person not speaking on for? Hi, Josh, how you doing? Is it snow where you are? Yeah, it has been. It's been a bit frosty today more than snow. Well, what about you, Tico? I quite enjoy the snow though. It's nice. We've had a burst pipe in the allotment today though. The pipes expanded and it's like flooded all of the allotment. So that was a bit rubbish. But luckily my friend came and sorted out because I was just about to do me live. So I was saved by the bell. She had to go deal with the crisis. How you doing, Josh? Hi, Chris, how you doing? Literally, this isn't really a live. I've just shown up like the title. So I'm just like chatting utter garbage. So if yous have got any garbage to chat, I'm happy to chat back. Where are you from? I'm from Newcastle in England, north of England. Chris is saying, when you go through withdrawal or feeling the itch to replace, how do you live with the fact that it is in fact happening? Sometimes is numbing. Yeah, I know what you mean. That when if we're getting the itch for the relapse, are you talking about cravings, Chris, or are you talking about just idolizing that like relapse? So like thinking about like, oh, I just want to relapse, or is it more like dealing with the craving head on? Yeah, let us know. It's Tico. I live in a tropical island. Oh my god, so jealous. England is not a tropical island. Far from it. It's summer all year round here. Where do you live, Tico? That's so great. I'm really jealous. Snake Pale Skin, nice to see you again. Nice to see you too. I think I've just got a few of me regulars on, which is quite nice because I can't be bothered today, so I'd rather just have a little chat. Josh is saying, I'm well, thank you. It's 8 a.m. here in Sydney and 40 degrees today. Oh, God, Screw off, you guys, in the hot weather. Yeah, Chris, I'm liking your vibe. I'm currently walking home freezing after work, but all good apart from that, yeah. Big up the people who are freezing and pretending they enjoy it. Yeah, Chris is jealous of you too, Tigo. What's the most valuable life lesson you've learned so far? Okay, so I'd say the biggest life lesson I've learned is just get over yourself. Like, just to get over myself. I used to be so bothered what people thought about us, and I was just so bothered about being judged and just everything. And I really like dampened myself to fit in and be accepted. And realistically, nobody did really accept us. I've never really fit in too well. So yeah, I just kind of got over myself and thought, I actually don't care what people think. And I think that came from addiction, because there was nothing more humiliating than being an addict, and it kind of gave us this mindset of everybody already thinks the worst of us. So whatever I do now, it actually doesn't matter. So I might as well just do whatever the hell I want. And it was just so liberating. What about everybody else? What's everybody else's biggest life lessons they've learned so far? And also, don't sniff ketamine. That was also a big life lesson. Chris, you back? Yes, I am. Maturius Island. I've never Maturity. I can't even say that. That's how much I've been there. that's how often I've been there. I can't even say it. I don't think I've been any tropical islands, to be honest with you. But it sounds lovely and hot. Anything with the word tropical in, I'm sold. Sydney has the best weather. I can imagine. Good old Australia. It just seem nice. I do like having all the seasons, I've got to admit. And when you get bored of one, you're into the next one. But I mean, the summer is a bit scabby, I'm not going to lie. Oh, what's Chris saying? Oh, Chris is saying, sorry, I missed your comment there. I would say a bit of both. Yes. Has anyone got any tips for dealing with cravings and when you're getting the relapse itch? Because I feel like if there's anyone who's overcame addiction, might as well get a few people's views on it. So dealing with the craving, first of all, remember it's if your body going to fight or flight. So because it's starting to get really anxious because you've thought about doing the thing, then you've thought, no, I'm not going to do the thing, and that's sent you into fight or flight because you're like, well, but I really want to do the thing. So first of all, breathe in. So you can think about, actually, there was something that someone told us about yesterday who's going to be doing the groups with us, they said was helpful for him. And he was talking about corner breathing, and he said, like, look at every corner of the room and count the corners in the room. So it's like distraction and breathing. So breathe in one corner, breathe out another corner. And then once you've done that, if you're still feeling up a height, count the corners in each corner. And it's just about like just getting your nervous system calmed down by distracting from the thought and just hitting the brakes on your fight or flight system. Then I would think about get your long-term memory and your long-term thought process involved. So I say this all the time, Chris, so I don't mean to be just repeating myself, but if it's your limbic system's firing up, so get your prefrontal cortex engaged. So think about long term. And the way to do that is think about how you felt when you were in it, like your negatives. So think of this beforehand as well, like your worst thought, like your most crappy thought around your addiction, and think about that, and then think about what you've done differently, like how your life's different or what you want to do that's different. So try and just engage your prefrontal cortex. But in terms of, so that's how to deal with it in the moment. In terms of dealing with the thoughts of relapse, what it's with, say how long have you been without relapsing, because it takes a while for your brain to rewire. So if it's not into that 4 months, then just remind yourself this is just a process my brain's rewiring. If it's after that point, I would say maybe there's something else that's going on underneath. So then look at your triggers. So what's happened to make you want to relapse? Are you stressed? Are you feeling a bit bogged down with life? yeah, just try and work out what is going on to make you want to relapse, because it's, if you think of it like a relapse, like itching to relapse is your brain's thinking, I don't feel quite right now, and that seems like a better option. And when the addiction feels like a better option, that's probably because there's something not quite right going on in your life at the moment. Listen, I live in KS, which usually is freezing at this time, and now I'm walking around sleeveless. What's KS? What's KS stand for, Chris? But yeah, good for you. I've not been walking around sleeveless. I went out today without gloves, and me and my friend had to take turns wearing them on the school run. That's how not much of a wearing a t-shirt weather this is. User saying don't eat yellow, so yeah, do not. Quazim, I'm not addicted. That's okay. You can still join if you want to. I'm not really talking too much about addiction tonight, to be honest. Christian saying, I'm a refugee. Will Sydney accept us? I don't know if you're being serious or just trying your luck to get into a hot country. Could be either or. Josh, I've been drinking a bit lately, actually. I stopped before I get too far gone. Last few times I was really drunk, I used heroin. Yeah, this is the thing. So for me, I had to cut alcohol out when I quit ketamine. I've cut it out now, but that's years later. Because it was it was exactly the same. It was just a trigger. So I knew that I had to get rid of it. And the only time I'd have a drink is if I was around people where I wouldn't, like, they knew my situation and wouldn't let us relapse. So I try to like plan around that. But yeah, the thing is with alcohol, it just lowers inhibitions. Like everyone says, when I was like, when I say everyone, I mean like researchers talk about the gateway, like cannabis being a gateway drug. No, I think alcohol's a gateway drug. Definitely. We can't be alone. We can't do life alone. We need 2 or 3 people we really trust to go through it. Yeah, I really agree with that, Chris. And we're social creatures. We're supposed to be in tribes. And, I think it's really tough. Like, we're expected now to live in a house of 1 or a house of 2, and it's not normal. It really isn't. Yeah. And what's really hard in addiction recovery, not all addictions, but certainly substances, is then often you're 2 to 3 people, if not more, are people who use. So you've got to like try and find new people who can be your 2, 3 people. But it's so important. In my recovery ages ago, and boundaries are key. Yeah, 100%. Boundaries are so key. That's what I was going to do tonight's episode on, actually, but I really couldn't be asked to do the live, so I just sort of show it. But yeah, boundaries are so key, and they're really hard to do as well. I really used to struggle with boundaries. I would say like I'm an addict who's recovered, but also a recovered people pleaser. So, and look, I think I relapse on that more than I do anything else. It's so hard. But the thing is, so boundaries are like blueprints for how we want to be treated. And I think one of the things is you're kind of scared about, if I put boundaries in, or people, am I going to lose friends? So people are going to like us. But actually people who are in your life should respect boundaries, and realistically it's not about, oh, I'm going to annoy them. It's about saying like, this is what I'm okay with, what I'm not okay with, and this is how I want to be treated if this relationship's going to work. And if somebody cares about you, then they would like to know that blueprint. But yeah, it's really hard. Josh, escapism works for cravings. Watch a movie or YouTube documentary. Yeah, something, if you can watch something inspiring as well, something like or something about it, like learning. So I always think when I was getting healthy, so cutting out sugar and ultra processed food, one thing that I started doing was watching loads of things around like the gut microbiome, like podcasts and stuff, and health. And when I went to the gym, I started watching things about like the importance of muscle and stuff like that, and fitness, and it really motivated us. So there's a podcast, Diary of a CEO, which has just came out. I think it was 3 days ago, and it's about dopamine and addiction, which I'm quite excited to watch. So watch something like that where it's like motivating you to stay sober. Or just motivational people. I watched Kevin Hart or Matthew McConaughey, really motivational. I came out thinking, wow, I'm gonna smash life. So yeah. Chris is saying Wim Hof breathwork got me through the first 3 months. Would highly recommend. I've heard a lot of people say that. I think I'm gonna learn it because I'm gonna quit vaping with me addiction group I'm doing, and I might learn that because I've heard a lot of people say that. I was saying this morning, there's somebody I was speaking to yesterday who said beatboxing, learning how to beat, they couldn't beatbox, and they learned from scratch how to do it, and it's all about breathing. So like anything breath work, even running, you've got like double intake, a long outtake, something around breath. But yeah, I'm gonna have a little look into the Wim Hof. Somebody saying, my bro, it's Tico, I've got pals on here. How are you doing, Sham? Sham, I'm going to call you my bro as well. Sham, my bro. Welcome to the channel. Hi from Atlanta, hi from Newcastle. Chris, it's the idea of using the body to influence the mind rather than trying to think yourself out of your own mind kind of thing. Yeah, and this is the thing. So it's a biofeedback loop. So if you can't stop your mind, stop your body. And actually, I was talking about podcasts. Chris Johnson, that links in with something that I've just been watching. It was like a neuroscience scientist, and what she was saying is that the action happens in the body before the thoughts and feelings. I've never heard that or learned about that before. So she was saying what happens is we're all processing data from past data, and that's getting impacted by current stimuli. And what happens is we predict what's going to happen based on that data. So our body goes into action on a prediction. So what she's saying is if you have a craving or something, your body's already got into the state that you'll get to prepare you to do the addiction, to relapse or whatever it is. So when you're talking about sort your body before your mind, it's actually your body that goes off first before your mind, because your body influences your thoughts and feelings. So yeah, I've always known about a biofeedback loop, but that was quite interesting. So yeah, breathing's really good. Another one's just like when you have a craving, you start get all like you described it, other Chris Warrior, as an itch, and it's because you start to feel like that. So just relax yourself. Try and relax yourself, and if you can learn Wim Hof breathing, that I've heard good things, or just you can do a sigh, which is like a double intake and then out. So babies do this when they're going to sleep. If I know you've got kids, Chris, so they go when they calm themselves down. So you can actually just do that, and that calms you down as well. When did you become a mod here? As Sham said, Tico's been a mod here for a while. He's good. She's so good, isn't she? Oh, I'm liking this, Sham. Are you bringing fans? Bringing fans? I'm joking. I'm actually can't be arsed tonight, Sham. But your friend Tico, however you know each other, is brilliant. I've only been here a couple of times from my other account, never commented though. Oh, you've already been here. Well, I'm glad you've been here another night, because this is quite poor quality live, to be honest with you. Tapini, cognitively give yourself freedom from the positive effects, and remember the extra time you may be losing. I think you mean losing. Yeah, again, that's engaging prefrontal cortex. So I was linking things up to what's going on in the brain and body. And yeah, reminding yourself of the positive effects, you start to think rationally, which is going to instantly help you with impulse control. So yeah, and the extra time you'll be losing as well. The way that I do that, because I really fucking struggle as a mom sometimes to stay present, and everyone will come up and they'll be like, oh, it goes so fast, and I'm like, are you for real? I've never known an hour to last so fucking long in my entire life. But I'm always like trying to think like, oh, I'm gonna regret not being present. So what I do is I remind myself on the time I've already lost, and I start to grieve that, and then that makes us feel right. I've really got to do it. Like I really can't afford to lose any more time. So yeah, it does help a little bit, but still, it's quite a slog at times. Parenting, if any of you are parents. Do you have 2 channels? No, I don't. I don't, Mohammed. Thank you, Tico. You make me head swell. User, I'm dependent on tramadol for my pain, back, knees, etc. I'm 69 years old. I tried to come off twice. Living in the present helped me mentally. Yeah, living in the present is so underrated, but it's so fucking difficult to do as well. And going back to what I was talking about on that podcast, she was talking about like using past data. And actually, if you can start to be in the present, then what you're doing is, and really like being mindful of it, like using mindfulness, you start to create new data instead of just acting from pattern, which I thought was quite interesting. Did you say living in the present helps you mentally just in general? And I know you mentioned about dependent on tramadol and that you've came off. Are you wanting some support in that? It's really common to be like chemically dependent on prescription drugs. And the thing is, if it's for pain, when you remove it, not only are you experiencing the pain it's medicating, but you're also experiencing rebound pain because from the tramadol. So it's a really tough thing to do. Still going on about addiction even now, right? Riaz, well, yeah, it is an addiction channel. That is the point. And I'm gonna run out of stuff to talk about. Anybody who comes to me channel often will know that I'm quite repetitive because there's only so much about addiction you can say. But I'm starting to run out of ideas as well to do me topics on. I've done like 90 odd so far. Leonard, Leonard, I try to say that. Big L, you're getting called. Community is very, very important. Yeah, it really is. This is why I think like groups are so important. But even online communities, there was like a Twitter page, which has like a little thing where everyone goes on and comments. So you can do little things like on social media but yeah, community. And not the community of addicts. That was my community, and that was not helpful for addiction recovery. That was helpful if I wanted to get more drugs, but not addiction recovery. So pick your community. Did you even sleep last night? Yeah, not very much, to be honest. I'm waiting to find a sleep specialist. Well, not find one, get signposted to one. But yeah, I did. It's Tico. There is a study which shows that by illegally buying cannabis can make someone more prone to try harder substances because they already crossed the legal threshold. Yeah, you know, somebody was bringing this up actually. I used to have someone who I used to quite enjoy, so really challenges in the beginning, and I was talking about decriminalisation because that's what I did my dissertation on. And he was saying that, and I actually researched it, and that is something that they've been finding when they've legalised cannabis in the States, which makes sense, really. Yeah. Because it is a gate, I suppose going back to that gateway, once you've done one, then you're more likely to do the other. I think it's because we grew up with fear of like all drugs are terrible, and you think of like somebody, the addict who, you know, the typical addict on the street who's just like really far gone. And then when you try weed, you're like, well, hang on a minute, that's not what I thought addiction was. So then, yeah, and then you get to a point where like, I'm already trying dodgy stuff, like something a bit more dodgy is not going to make much of a difference. I don't have any addiction issues, feeling left out. Yes, it's a good thing, mate. Chill your beans. Spend some love and light. What's your best thing for how have you managed to stay addiction free? Give us some tips. People pleasing is my curse for sure, Chris. Oh, yeah, I know. So hard. It's a skill. The art of no is a skill. Do you still struggle with people pleasing, or are you getting a bit better at it? I find empathetic assertion is good, where you say something empathetic toward them in the beginning. So it's like, I can understand why you're being a bit of a knob, because although you are being a bit of a knob, and then you don't say the knob, obviously, and then lead it in with however, and then give something, and then end on something positive as well. So I found like kind of buttering up the assertion was a little bit nicer way to do it. I felt a bit more comfortable. And I started practicing with people I didn't know. So I started saying no and being assertive with people like the shopkeepers, the fucking doctors, receptionists. Who the fuck do they think they are? So started getting like practicing being assertive with people like that. And then like people who I'm really comfortable with, who I know would be okay with us putting in a boundary, and started like practicing it as a skill. So yeah. Anybody else got any people pleasing techniques? Any ex people pleasers? Yeah, Riaz, have you ever been a people pleaser? Maybe you can comment on this. Wow, a woman in recovery is on before your channel. How random. Oh, I love that. What was she called? I'll have to give her a follow. Maybe it's not random at all though. Maybe it's your algorithm. But I do like to think of randomness because I'm quite spiritual. Makes us feel a bit comforted. Leonard, I believe the kids of community has hurt society more than anything. I think the kids in the community have probably been hurt by society in the first place. I think it's just like a catch-22, isn't it? Because realistically, even if you just go back a few generations, like I don't think kids have had a good life. And I think that generational trauma has just been passed on and passed on. All addictions are rewards you give yourself anyway, cognitively. Yeah, and it's about finding something else that's rewarding, isn't it? And another thing you can do in addiction recovery is think of a hook. So something that is going to be, there's something that's more important to you than the addiction. So something that's you're going to feel good about. And this isn't something I've done, but just linking it into what you've said, try and make it rewarding. So try and make it feel like something that's going to be, or like see how that's going to be rewarding. So for me, it was, I didn't want to be a mother in addiction. Like I just didn't want my son to, working as a therapist, I know how that's just passing on the trauma, and I didn't want to do that to him. So rewarding wise, I could visualize about like what would the difference be if I carried on with the addiction versus what would me as a mother not being an addict look like, and then try and just praise myself for every time I'm just showing up, to quote the beginning of it. But yeah, Riaz, not the kids, bro. Are you a kid, Riaz? I've got a Gen Z on here. No, I think like, look, I get why it must be quite, I do get it, because like we've got some little tour rags around where I live, but I also know what it's like to be one of those tour rags. And I think, yeah, kids are just got no frontal lobe. Like they're just impulsive. They're just like, they've got idle fingers. Yeah, but they don't have frontal lobes, so I think we need to cut them a bit of slack. Tico, my parents were drug dealers, so I was destined to drugs from the get-go. It's def true, you don't see drugs like the majority of people. Yeah, I think that's the thing as well, they've just been normalised for you, Josh. Yeah, I grew up around drugs. Like I witnessed a lot of people on drugs growing up. So I don't think it was that, I don't think it was that big of a deal for us. I remember smoking weed, I didn't even bat an eyelid, so it mustn't have been that big of a deal to us, because I was like 13 smoking, well, chewed tack, I've said this before once, that was the first thing, and then smoked weed. I don't ever remember being nervous about it, I was just like, why not? So yeah, it probably does make a difference. Chris, the cold showers are wild, but not for everyone. Yeah, really good. And if you do that, you get like a dopamine, so it makes you produce dopamine, but it like slowly releases. I think it's up to 6 hours. It's really good, especially for addiction recovery. So like even if it's not hard just to hoy I think in the early stages of recovery, it's really hard to do much, but just to hoy the cold shower on. And also it'll activate your dive reflex. So if you're feeling anxious, anxiety, one thing that you can do is like splash cold water on your face and activates what's called your dive reflex, and it'll stop anxiety in its tracks. So again, it'll be doing that, which is a good way to start the day off. But yeah, it's not for everyone. Riaz, right. Cold showers. I know you've never been an addict, so you don't have to start going in cold showers and that to sort your life out. But like rolling eyes, there's so much research on how good cold showers are for you. So it's good. What's good with this? So right, here's the little science behind it. So things like cold showers or saunas is another one. When you're putting your body under stress, which is manageable, what it does is it actually retrains your nervous system. So it trains your nervous system to be able to handle stress. Now, one of the things that I think is pretty fair statement to make is, as a society, we're pretty riddled with stress and we don't fully know how to manage it. So doing something like that, putting your body under stress repeatedly, your nervous system has to naturally calm down, and it basically trains you to get back down to baseline. So if you think of it like, if you're constantly stressed, your stress levels here, and that's your baseline, and then you're going up and you're just going over, and this is where we're having like emotional chaos and relapse and all that. But if you start to learn how to manage your stress, and you can do it through cold showers, short saunas, your baseline will slowly start to come further and further down because you're learning to regulate. And that means when you have something happen, instead of going over here, you just spike it up and coming down. So things for me now, which used to absolutely tip us over the edge, doesn't really impact my life at all. And the stuff that would have absolutely had us done for, I'm like, okay, this is stressful, but I can manage it. And that's because I've learned to calm my nervous system, not because stress isn't as stressful. Does that make sense? But stress isn't as stressful. I don't know what that even means. You know what I mean, though? It's not that life isn't as stressful. Bro circles in this place. Oh, God. Right, keep it kosher, Riaz. We're letting you sit here. We're letting you get an insight into the addict's brain. Just get your notepad out and stop being so mean. It's starting to get a bit bitchy over there. Tico and I mod for a number of channels together. I'll be happy to help if needed. Yeah, why not, Charm? You never have too many mods. I nearly kicked Tico off there, his pinned comment. I don't even know how you send a comment. Add as moderator. There we go. Yeah, thank you for offering, Sham. Yeah, I don't even know how you send a comment on this. I keep trying to and it just won't let us. Ashley, hi, question. Are you excited to learn new things about addiction? Interesting when we overcoming some type of addictions after we are full of energy to do new things. Yeah, I do love learning things about addiction. Definitely. So I am excited to learn new things about addiction. But interesting when we're overcoming some type of addictions after we are full of energy to do new things. That's not been my experience. I've had time to do other things. Like I've had that freed up a lot of time, but I don't know about you guys, but like the energy I had on my addiction was elite. Now, I feel like I don't like even, I've got to have like a nap after me nap. I don't know what's happening. I've got zero energy whatsoever. It's really annoying. And I think it's because I'm comparing it to the decade and a bit of just being off my nut where energy was high, and as soon as I had no energy, I'd have a line and be like, woo, hello, here I am. So yeah, I have time to do stuff. I'm not sure energy's the word I'd use. It's Tico. Sham is my bro, one of the best mods I know. I love that. It would be amazing to have him on the team as a mod. Well, he's on. Thank you for joining, Charm. You're cute. Or you can be like the little chuckle brothers of the stream. I'm here just for ambience. Yeah. You're bringing a vibe. You're not too bad. You're not like kicking out too many comments, just the odd eye roll. We can deal with that. Tapini. Separate your rewards into smaller segments over longer periods of time. No reward can be stopped. Ridiculous. Yeah. What? So do you mean, though, when we're talking about rewards, are you talking about, because the person who mentioned rewards was talking about the addiction, so do you mean like separate out whatever you're addicted to, or Tapini, do you mean reward yourself little and often? Yes, weirdo alert. Okay, I'm a weirdo, it's fine. I think probably a lot of we're weirdos. Right, I think the trick is trying to recognise when you're in a pre-trigger behaviour. Yeah, so like, do you mean something that's about to trigger you? I think that's what you mean by pre-trigger behaviour. I've never heard of that term before. So let us know if you're wrong. But do you mean, so the way I'm interpreting that is that if you have a trigger, if you know something's going to be a trigger, just abort. So for instance, like we were talking about alcohol before, like I knew for a fact that alcohol in me was going to end up relapse, so I had to remove myself from that. So I had to preempt triggers, especially in the beginning. And then one thing you can do with that is, so preempt triggers, and I would say in the beginning avoid as many as possible, because you're going to be getting triggered just from farting, like literally everything triggers you. So the big triggers, remove them. But what I would do is, what we need to do is train our brain that not to associate the addiction with whatever the trigger is. So obviously some triggers keep removed, obviously. Like you don't want to walk and talk and trigger, what I mean. Like you don't want friends doing drugs in front of you or whatever it is. But reintroduce it, and you want to like change how you identify it. So for instance, one of the triggers for me, and this is something that a lot of people deal with when they've been in rehab, is they'll come home and then their own house is a trigger because you're used to getting wrecked in the house. And that's happened to me before, where I'm like, I've got sober, came back, been triggered the second I've got in my house. So when you're trying to reintroduce that, I don't get wrecked in the house, I'm not associating the two. Try and have some buffers or some scaffolding. So this might be where you have people who are keeping you accountable, ringing you up multiple times a day, or having someone stay with you for the first few days, or whatever it is that you can do to just stop feeling uncomfortable around the trigger and desensitize it. And you can do this with a lot of things. So like every time I went for a walk, I'd like to have a line before I went for a walk. So I waited a few months, like at first I was going for walks all the time, but I was going with my dogs, but then I waited and did it like, okay, I'm going to go for my nighttime walk, and I'm going to just make sure that I'm more comfortable with my triggers and able to handle them. Oh, what's Josh said? I've missed something. I think the trick is trying to recognise when you're in a... Oh, sorry, I've read that one out before. You need to be in the here and now. Yeah, definitely. Oh, hello, Gummies Beatbox. How you doing? I told people about your beatboxing for addiction recovery and your corners earlier on. Right, Josh, sorry to hear about that. Yes, your upbringing and childhood has a major impact on your worldview and view of drugs. Right, why have I missed Josh's comment? Where are you, Josh? Oh, so yeah, so are you replying to Josh saying my parents were drug dealers, so I was desensitized from drugs from the get-go? Yeah, Tigo is so right when he's saying like, yeah, upbringing and childhood does have a major impact on your worldview and view of drugs. And even if it's not like you're being brought up around drugs or addiction, even just your childhood impacts your likelihood of struggling in addiction. But also that's like adding another layer on of modeling behavior. This is how we deal with life. And let's be real. And like, I'm saying this as somebody who was a mother who struggled with addiction. Like, you can't parent to your max capacity on addiction. Like, you can't. And I think the older they get, the harder it's going to be as well. So I can't imagine all your needs were being fully met as well, which hugely would have impacted it. And God knows what else. So yeah, I'm also sorry about that. Tabor, that's how you get off tramadol. Yeah, glacially slow. Very, very slow getting off any prescription drugs. And I would always say do it with a professional. And the thing is, with prescription drugs, like, they all know that something's going to be addictive, so there's no shame in saying I'm addicted to this medication, I need help getting off it. So I got chemically addicted to quetiapine, which is one that I was prescribed, and I didn't realise that I was. So yeah, but yeah, tapering off so slow. And you can do this with any addiction. Like, if you don't want to go, like, it's actually very important that you do, like alcohol, benzocaines, certain prescription drugs. But just like any addiction, you can taper yourself off it, and it will feel more comfortable. Pretty colour eyes, thank you, Roy. Gummers, beatbox, you're doing an amazing job, Ashley, thank you. I really couldn't be bothered tonight, but actually I've had a canny little group on tonight. It's been nice. Just a little bit more chill than usual. Lauren, I'm an alcoholic. I'm so sorry that you're going through that, Lauren. Would you like a one-to-one? Tico's pinned my website. I think you've pinned my website, haven't you? Yeah, Tico's pinned my website. If you'd like a free one-to-one, and also I'm starting a group soon if you want to join that. But the thing, Lauren, what I was saying, alcohol, if ever you do get to a point, I don't know if you're there now or you're just kind of flirting with the idea of wanting to stop alcohol, it is so important that you do that safely and doing it with professionals. So I know quite a few people who didn't realise that can be dangerous, just coming off alcohol. So yeah, and at the very least, if that's something you don't want to do, which I really would advise that you do, really know your stuff, like research your stuff. But Lauren, I can absolutely do a one-to-one with you, and like you say, you're welcome to join the group. Is there any specific questions you have, Lauren, as well, or you just wanting to get it out? So I think sometimes just saying the thing out loud is really helpful. Yeah, and just like, I think that starts to change your identity, because just saying it out loud, you're starting to get into this like change behavior as well. So yeah, but let us know. Thanks, Tico, for picking up and saying, look at the comment. Have you ever tried shrooms? Yes, I have. The only things I haven't tried is heroin and crack. But yeah, I've definitely tried shrooms in my time. Not gonna lie. Oh, I don't know what you're saying. Mayholes. Tico, my parents weren't or aren't addicts, although I have 3 sisters and... Oh, I thought you meant parents as well. Sorry, Josh. Although I have 3 sisters and 2 older brothers, and all of the male siblings were heroin addicts. Upbringing, death has a bearing on drug use. Yeah. So you've seen it, and I think I would imagine actually seeing your siblings is probably more of I don't know actually if that's more of a trigger or not. But I feel like you look up if you... I don't know if they're older or not. I don't know much information, that's why it's hard. But I'd imagine like looking up to people as well. So if you've got your siblings, it's like your peers, isn't it? Like kind of really normalising it. But yeah, childhood definitely has a bearing on drug use. I think as well, especially when you're looking at harder drugs, 100% does if you're looking at harder drugs. It was Gabo Manny said, don't ask what addiction, ask why the addiction. I think childhood doesn't just have a bearing on drugs. Like I would say, when as a therapist, about 98% of people who came through my door, it led back to childhood. And this is the thing, like our early childhood experiences shape us into who we are. So if we're struggling with addiction, we're probably struggling inside. I don't think many people are who are in addiction are choosing that because it looks like the funner option. You know, let's be real. It's Tico saying, oh, all right, I'm thinking. Chris is saying, haha, people insulting instead. Oh, what do you mean by that, Chris? I don't know if you're replying to something I've said, and I forgot. It's gone. Tico, yes, because in the mind of the individual, she is already on the bad side of the law. So cannabis is put in the same category like other hard substances. Yeah. I think I'm just quite far behind on these comments. I might scroll to the bottom and just nip about in the comments. But yeah, so yeah, that makes sense because what Tico says. So we're talking about like cannabis being a gateway drug, and he's talking about the fact that with legalizing drugs, like they're more likely to, even though it's because they're trying, even though it's legal, they're more likely to go into illegal substances. Yeah, and the thing is, just because they've legalized drugs in the last however many years, them children are still grown up with this idea of what drug addiction is, all drugs are bad. And like policy has said that, including cannabis, right the way up to the point where it was legalized. And again, like we're talking about our world views get shaped when we're younger. Pimples is saying you an angel for helping other people. God bless you. Thank you. Riaz, lol, I just was fortunate. I guess I have tried out most things, but the addiction part never caught on with me. Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like a game of Russian roulette, isn't it? You don't know you're an addict until you're the dregs of the session. Or you don't know you're the addict until like you're knee deep in it and you're like, oh, hang on a minute. This was just meant to be a bit of fun. Chris is saying I'm getting a bit better, but it's definitely deep rooted in brain hardwire. I need to rewire. Well, at least you're getting better. So Chris is talking about people pleasing for those who've joined. Yeah, is any other people pleasers in recovery? Yeah, it is. It's an ongoing thing. It is hard. I always feel like I'm starting from the big. I'm going down at the bottom. There's so many comments here that I'm just like skirting the surface of them at the top. It's so hard for people pleasing, and like I feel like I get confident with boundaries, and then I introduce a new person in my life. I'm like, oh, I've got to learn this all over again with a new person. Chris is saying, just yes, coping through drugs, alcohol, etc. is a huge relief mechanism. Thank God you're recognizing that. Yeah, it is. Absolutely. And it is a relief mechanism, and usually it's often you're doing the thing just for a bit of fun in the beginning, but realistically, I think then you're like, oh my God, this actually feels better than facing my emotions and life. And I think it's because for whatever reason, whether it's trauma, undiagnosed mental health disorders, whatever it is, like feeling disconnected, not confident in social situations, which again links back to childhood. When you have this amazing feeling, it's like your baseline is so low that this feels so high. And I think that's the thing, like when you're not getting that same high in life before or after, then that becomes something that you're leaning into more than that average person. Tico, she's dyslexic and trying her best to respond to every comment. She'll get your comments, guys. I'll try, but when I come off these lives, like this one's quite a low amount of people on, but I might have anything between like 250 and 1,000 comments. So I can't read that many, and also I'm dyslexic. So if I miss anyone's comments, and you want us to get back to you, please just go on to my website and send it, and I'll reply, or comment on this live after, and I'll pick it up. Right, I'm just going to scroll around at random and say, like, just so everyone gets a fair chance. Riaz is saying, so basically increasing your stress level tolerance, basically. Interesting. Yeah, it is increasing your stress level tolerance. And we think about, we need to manage stress through, like, learn how to manage stress mentally. So learning, like, techniques on like how not to ruminate and all this stuff, but actually we can learn it through our bodies. So we can learn to de-stress our body, and it's a biofeedback loop. So if your body's relaxed or your body's good at handling stress, it'll signal to your brain, we're actually cool here, because your body actually sets off. You've got like two alarms. You've got your brain and your body. So noradrenaline in your brain. I don't know how you say the American version. Norepinephrine. I don't know. Noradrenaline, English. And then we get adrenaline in our adrenal glands in our body. So we need to turn off both of those alarm systems. And actually, you can turn off in your body first. And if you get used to getting your body back to baseline, that'll help. So a lot of things you can do for addiction recovery, which you might start even before you quit the addiction. So I had someone who's saying I'm an alcoholic before. What you can do even before, but certainly after, is you can just learn to make micro changes one at a time, which signals that your body's safe. So one of the things is like opening up your shoulders, and just every time you notice that your shoulders are hunched, just open them out and just keep practicing that for a few weeks, and you'll notice that your shoulders naturally stay out. Another one is breathing through your nose. A lot of people breathe through the mouth. I did. So I just started, every time I noticed my mouth was open when I was breathing, shut my mouth and start breathing through the nose, and that starts to regulate your nervous system. There's loads of tiny little things like that you can just do, which will help you manage cravings and just life. Norepinephrine. I still can't say that. Norepinephrine. I can't. Yeah. Noradrenaline. I'm going to go for the UK version. It's just often it gets called the US version. David, that's awesome. Keep fighting. What's David saying? I'm 7 days today. Yeah, that is awesome. I don't even say awesome. I'm adopting Chris's language, but yeah, I'm buzzing for you. David, 7 days as well. So you've got past your first 3 days. Just keep reminding yourself 3 weeks and you'll start to feel a little bit better in 3 weeks. So just keep pushing through. Yeah. And every day, I'm buzzing for you though, the fact that you've done it. And it's just about now just doing whatever you can to get through the day and have a little plan of action. So I spoke about there, just like little tiny things you can do to calm your nervous system. Practice doing little things like that. Just something where you're gunning towards it, but well done. I do not envy you, but yeah. So David, I'm off the drink and other stuff, but I still need to quit the weed next, as it affects my dopamine receptors. Yeah, do you know what it is, David the plumber? I would say, though, what you've done is right, because I think sometimes getting rid of everything at once can be far too intense, especially with alcohol. It can be really intense. So, like, there's no shame in tackling the worst ones first, like the most problematic things. And actually, if I was a therapist and someone came to us and they've got multiple things, we would be looking at what's the most problematic. So yeah, I think you're smashing it. Has anybody got any tips for the first few weeks for David? Just like little things that help you in them like early days. Hey Josh, I understand that, bud, but I was just saying most addicts I have met through my life, bud. I'm 11 years clean. I was a drug addict. Hey Josh, I don't know what you've said. Gummies, I don't know a single addict who hasn't had a shit childhood. Yeah. The thing is as well, so right, I'm gonna stick up so Gummies the beatbox. So he's saying that's his experience, and I've spoken to Gummy, I can't even say bloody name. Gums. I'm just gonna call you Beatbox. I've spoken to Beatbox, and yeah, I would imagine that beatboxers probably met quite a few addicts in the time. And the thing is, it is common for it to stem back to child who hasn't had a shit childhood, especially you've got different levels as well. So if you're looking at people who's in harder drugs, they're more likely to have had shit childhood as well. Just because the addiction itself says a lot about what it is. So we all talk about a drug of choice. That says a lot about what is going on underneath. So for me, like ketamine, it's a sedative. Like my brain is forever just 100 mile an hour, and it just used to sedate us a little bit, which was actually quite nice. So it says a lot about what's going on, and also I didn't have a good relationship, so it was just numbing me thoughts out, which my thoughts weren't a nice place to be. But if you look at like heroin, it hijacks your pain receptors. So we've got opiate pain receptors in our brain, and a lot of people who struggle with heroin addiction tend to have, like Beatbox said, really fucking shit childhoods. What else? Sniper. How do I find doctors that actually align with my lifestyle preferences? I dislike prescription medication, and my doctor wants me on antidepressants, and I don't think that'll work best for me. Sniper, yeah, it's really hard because I'm the same. I don't want medication. I really don't, especially being struggling with addiction. I don't know, because what I don't want to do is sit here and say, so I don't want to pretend that I can prescribe stuff and I know anything about prescription drugs when I don't. So I don't really want to give any comment too much on that. Because like I just don't think it's my place, and I think your GP will be more will understand the situation more. I don't want to act out with my confidence level. But one thing that you can do alongside that is look into different ways to manage your mental health holistically. So looking at your gut microbiome, there is so much evidence that links your gut to your brain. So get curious about that if you're not already. Different things like exercise and stuff like that. Hobbies, how enjoyable is your life? Try and create things which bring you little glimmers of joy. So for me with depression, so I have depression for bipolar, and what I try and do when I'm in a low is think about what's the different things that I'm going to do which is going to make us feel comfortable, and what little proactive steps can I take to climb out of this depression sooner. So I'm not anti meds, although personally I know what you mean. Like I try to keep it real. I don't particularly like meds, but also there's holistic things you can do, and it might not cure the depression, but it might help. But I'm getting a bit tired. Yeah, I'm gonna go do a few more comments and then go. But Tapenia said, maybe remember the choice is yours, yet psychological, emotional restrictions from the past will be back. Yeah, this is the choice is yours. It really is. I would always say make informed decisions. So really look into it. Like, and then at least when you're making a decision, it's not just off a feeling, it's off fact. And like you're making an educated decision. But also when Tapini's saying restrictions from the past will be back, yeah, you've got to address what's causing the depression and practical strategies to get you out of the depression. But yeah, and also sometimes meds are important, and that doesn't mean that we have to be on them long term. But what meds do, so from a therapeutic standpoint, if someone's on medication, if you take meds, it stabilizes your brain so that you're more regulated, so that then you can do the work. So you're not learning to swim in a hurricane. Like you're calming your nervous system, calming your brain, so then you can do the work around your trauma and calming and you regulating your nervous system, your emotions, different things like that. So the two can work together as well. But again, the choice is yours. Am I a Londoner? No, I'm not. I'm a Northerner. I've got some Southern friends though. I don't know what difference that makes too. Though I need to go though, I'm quite tired. I'm not from London, but I know people from London. God's sake. Chris, yes, a classic sign of severe depression is thinking the future is bleak. The amygdala threat detection is overactive, so the brain is biased towards negative outcomes. Yeah, it is. And it's a sign of fight or flight as well. So it's like more flight, kind of like, or freeze. You kind of just kind of, yeah, it's exactly like you say, it's to do with the amygdala. And the thing is with depression, if we can understand depression on a physiological standpoint, so like what's going on from a neuroscientific standpoint, and just learn a lot about it, then what that does is it gives you a roadmap on how to go against it. So you can do things to train yourself to come out of it. Think of like mental health as a spiral staircase, which I've said before, but we're either going downward or we're going upward. And if we're going down, we just need to turn around and think like, what one step can I take upward, and just try and just do one thing every day toward getting yourself out of depression. I think that starts with learning what's going on, like the brain chemistry in it. But yeah, it's just overactive threat detection. It's basically fight or flight is getting, just firing off when it shouldn't be. Like fight or flight. So if we're going into fight or flight, it's because there's a threat. The problem is, in the 21st century, we're not really facing that many threats, is what we would be when we, before all this like craziness of the 21st century. So things that appear threatening actually aren't, like an email from the boss going into fight or flight. Somebody's looked at us going into fight or flight. It's like we're fight or flight is getting activated when realistically it shouldn't. And when it's used to doing it, our bodies are habitual. So we need to break that habit. So if we're looking at it from a purely like logical standpoint, it can be a little bit easier to think about what am I going to do moving forward. Riaz is saying, leave her alone, bro, don't do that. Oh, Riaz, I'm liking Riaz. Riaz came on. It started off getting a bit questionable, now he's sticking up for us. Have I won you over, Riaz? Yes, the body is locked in a state of fight or flight, which gives rise to anxiety as well. Yeah, because anxiety is just fight or flight. It's just adrenaline and noradrenaline, or however Tico says it, cortisol. It's just, everything that happens is just chemical reactions. And I find that really helpful for me in managing my mental health, is if I'm thinking, okay, this is just a chemical reaction going on. So how do I hijack that? What's going to be the opposite? So like say biofeedback loop, well, I signal to my brain it's not a threat by relaxing my body and my posture. Or another thing might be, my brain's just went blank then. Right, what did I just say? Everything is a chemical. Yeah, so another thing, so instead of, if I've got cortisol and stuff like that, then I start to think about, okay, how do I inhibit that and start producing oxytocin, which is the chemical of connection and love and attachment. So go and stroke your dog or something like that, play with your dog, or if you've got a dog or a cat, or you can just like do this is called havening. It's a bilateral something. Your brain's going to mush now, guys. But this really is calming, or you can do it on your cheeks like that, or your hands, whichever feels more comfortable. That makes you produce oxytocin, and it inhibits it inhibits fight or flight. Another thing is sitting and being rational about it. So thinking about like consequences and being rational, that brings your prefrontal cortex online. So that looks like, if we're feeling depressed, sitting there and having a firm word with yourself that's compassionate. Like, look, this is, whatever you're doing now is not helpful for your depression. So you don't deserve to feel depressed. What we're going to do, let's get up and do one little thing, even if it's minute, because you don't deserve to feel like this. So just talking to yourself rationally with a rational plan can also help. Anyways, I'm getting really tired. I've been really tired since I started, but thanks to everyone who's joined, and thanks to me regulars for coming on and holding the fort. It was nice just having a natter with yous. But yeah, hope fishing's an awesome outlet. Yeah, Gummers is so Beatbox is on about doing a fishing trip. He wants to do fishing for people who are in addiction. But yeah, he was talking about how fishing is like great for mindfulness. But yeah, I'm sorry if I know there's a lot of comments I haven't picked up, but if anyone wants is to reply to the comments, you can send them on my website, which is schoolofaddiction.co.uk, and I always reply. Just sometimes it takes us a hot minute. Or comment on any of my content, and again I'll make sure I reply to it. Thanks for everyone for showing up, and I go live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 10 a.m. and 9 p.m. GMT time. And if anyone could give us a subscribe who hasn't, but I do feel like it's all me little regulars on tonight. If anyone could give us a subscribe, it's a super free way to help the channel. Anyways, bye. Oh, and thanks for the likes, everyone who's given them. I can see them floating up. Bye.